welcome to another episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. It's funny now. I am Antonio. I'm your host, and my esteemed guests and family members, the McGee's, Ennis, and CaMis. This conversation might go a little long, Miss Ramsey, because I do know these people right here, so it may go a couple of different directions right here, because this my fam right here, and I'm not just saying that like that's blood over there, for real. So this is a licensed therapist and marriage counselor, Grisel Ramsey. These are the McGee's.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
Good.
Yeah, so Ms. Ramsey offers her expertise as it relates to relationships and marriage. Again, she is not on here in a marriage counseling capacity. However, if you do need her, she is available. She'll make sure you she'll be sure to get you her information if indeed you want to, if you guys want to talk to her, whatever, if you want to follow up. But she's just here to offer her advice, give context to things that we may talk about during the conversation. And it just kind of hopefully lends information to the people who will be viewing this, to kind of help break things down that may have happened during your relationship or in the marriage, to give them some context, in those matters. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, we want to thank you, first of all, for allowing us, for being transparent and coming on here and allowing us into your marriage and into your life and giving us some insight to how you guys work things out, how you laugh, how you love, the whole 9 yards. So what we want to know before we, get into it, give us a little background of your marriage, how long you've been married, give us the family, like you have kids, go ahead, take it away.
Oh, you honey.
Why do every couple do that? Everybody look you wanna do it? Everybody does that. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I got to do this before we get started. So, to make it more interactive, and it also kind of helps sparks conversation, or more robust conversations. We do have a couple of Black inspired games that we will play throughout the conversation. This one is called Culture Tags. If you decide to play this one, you do get a lifeline. So if you want to call somebody and be like, hey, we're kind of still trying to figure it out, but I need to have them on camera. So you got to, FaceTime them or something, because they can't cheat. I don't want to Googling anything. This is one. And we need you to decide before we actually get started. Then we have another game called Naughty Nice. Again, all these games are inspired by Black game artists. And then we have another one. It's called Tonight, Let's Talk. So before you guys get started and giving us a little background on your family, I want you to tell me, which game do you want to play throughout our conversation today? Tonight, Let's Talk. All right, Tonight, Let's Talk it is. All right, I'm going to shuffle these cards up to make sure we're not regurgitating questions from the last session. And y'all go ahead, take us away. Give us a little context. Tell us about your marriage.
So we have been married for how many years, babe? 9 years.
Okay. First, the wife looks at the husband. How many? Because normally it's us. Like, what? Okay, go ahead.
So there's a reason for that. But
okay.
we met when we were kids.
Okay.
My aunt and his uncle were boyfriend and girlfriend. They had a child together. So our younger cousin, his uncle and my aunt are her parents.
Okay.
We were around each other when we were smaller, around 8 and 9. Our families were very close. So, we had our little crush when we were younger. We used to have weddings when we were kids, and we would, in the neighborhood, and we get together, whoever was your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and we would have weddings and go to the penny candy store and buy a whole bunch of candy and have a party. Yeah, so we got married in my grandmother's backyard when we were 8 and 9. So that's why sometimes I'm like, wait, how long has it been legally? Like,
okay.
Oh, okay.
So we went our separate ways growing up. We probably saw each other once we were older, maybe about 4 or 5 times in passing, be it with our families being around each other, having this cousin.
Okay.
And I just remember, so their grandmother passed away in 2012.
Yeah.
2012, and they were having get-togethers at each cousin's house. So this particular time, they were happening at the cousin that we shared. They were happening at her house. So I hadn't seen in years. And so he and his sister and the family, or me and my boys came over. And I was just getting out of a long-term relationship, and he was in about to start the process of his divorce. So we were just there, and he kind of like, oh, you should let me take you out. And I was like, oh, okay. So that actually, the night we were supposed to go out, I just was all over the place. I'm like, I'm not gonna go. Our families have always wanted us to be together. So my sister's like, no, you're going. Bring the kids to me. I'm babysitting. And after that night, it was history. My daughter, our daughter was born a year later, and our daughter was born a year later, and we got married the year after that. So, all right.
So legally, you guys have been married for how long?
9 years.
9 years. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So I heard CaMis say, Ennis, that you were going through a divorce. So you have been married before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you married before?
4 years.
Okay. All right. CaMis, did you have any reservation? And you've never been married before, correct? CaMis?
No, I had not been married. So yeah, I had not been married.
Did you have any reservations about getting married to someone who's already been married before? Did you have any reservations? And
no, I don't know. None of that thought process ever happened, because it was just, it's crazy, because it was just a matter of, oh, okay, now we're finally going to be together. And that was it. It's like what happened prior and all that never really. And what's funny is, like, the few times we did see each other in passing, at each other's house, like I had been in my relationship for about 10 years. So he been married about 4, but throughout those 10 years, he had seen me with my partner before. And we talked about, after getting together, about how it was always this thing when we would see each other, like, what is this thing, It's like, but we pay no attention. And then when he got married, I'm like, he what? Like, I'm in a relationship, but it was just weird. It's like, it was weird to see each other with other people,
Right.
So, and then so when we got together, it was kind of like, it just wasn't much thought that went into it. It was,
yeah. So
very natural.
Right. So the way I'm hearing it sounds like there was just always some chemistry there, and you guys just never tapped into that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. So it sounds like we have a blended family. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us the ages of the children, and tell us their names and how many we have?
So we have 3 boys, 1 girl. The oldest boy, he'll be 24 next week. And we have our middle son. He'll be 22. Our youngest son, he'll be 19, and our baby girl, she'll be 10. So yeah, it's a nice blended group of us.
So he had a son when we got together. I had 2 boys, and then we had a daughter together.
Okay. Who looks just like you when you were little? Like, oh my God! I'm like,
everybody says that.
Yeah, she does. I mean, Ennis, that's my cousin, and I mean, when she was little, that's her and her sister. Them was my babies. So when I saw your daughter for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, she looked just like. Listen, I'm talking about the spitting image of you when you were little. The spitting image. She's very beautiful, though. Okay, so so it looks like there was really, like, y'all having marriages at 8 years old in the backyard. So it was just almost an attraction the entire time. So I was going to ask, like, what attracted you to one another? What was that chemistry? What was it like?
To me, is that the thing that she described, or my wife described, trying to put your finger on as a kid, it was a crush. She used to hang out with my sister, so she was friends with my sister. And she to me, as kids, was kind of quiet. And not that I was, but we just had that thing. And I think that the thing for me, that kind of the attraction because we always had the chemistry thing. We call it that, the thing.
Mhm.
But I really was attracted to her as a independent, like, I mean, she was a woman, like she was all woman, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And to me, I was attracted to that. Like she can handle her own. Like, I mean, I saw her with the boys a couple times, and it was just something about, I would say she just had that thing about her for me that she didn't play around. She
Mhm.
was serious about herself. She
Okay.
dressed the part. She looked amazing.
Okay.
Um, I always tell her when we kind of came back around our second time that she was, to me, she was like levitating on his couch. It was like, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I swear." And I walked in, she was sitting with her legs crossed, and I was like, "Whoa!" But like in the energy that was exuding from her for me,
Mhm.
I was like, that woman there, like she's the one. Like she's the one. Like I need to be with her.
Yeah.
But it was powerful. I could feel her energy, her strength, her resilience,
Okay.
and she was confident, and it was beautiful. Like to
Yeah.
me, that was something that was powerful for me, and it would give me an opportunity to just be the man that I wanted to be. And
Mhm.
I knew in my mind, like me and her together, like it with her with that, and me, oh man, this is something. So
Camise,
yeah, that was the effect.
yeah, Camise, how does it feel to hear your husband talk about you like that?
It's very humbling. It just goes to speak to the type of relationship we have. I had mentioned to you on the phone about it being just a very solid foundation, and they say it's very cliche, to be friends first, but he's literally my best friend. Like when I hear him speak about me that way, it just uplifts me and encourages me in a way that we just feed off of each other
Okay.
in a way that is only intended by God. I have no other way to describe
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all, I think y'all gonna be the first couple that then brought tears to people's eyes, y'all. You know. No, but that is, you know what? I was having a conversation with my wife and some of our cousins at my sister house, and I said, "There's nothing like," and in this, hopefully I think as a man, hopefully you'll be able to identify with this. But there's nothing like when a man and a woman love one another, and I'm talking about truly love one another. That is it. It really is powerful on a level that you can't even see it. The only people that can really comprehend it are the two people that's in love. You know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm,
you have that. Like it
mhm.
really is a powerful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able
Absolutely.
to hear you speak about that, speak about your wife in that manner, and then for her to say like it's a humbling experience, I mean, that's a very powerful statement, and it does so much for the energy and character of your marriage. It
Yeah.
really does.
Especially coming from, being a single mother. I was in a relationship for 10 years, but I was a single mother. So, being so independent for so long, it was such a breath of fresh air to have someone I could trust with
Mhm.
me, because that was the hardest part of any relationship I've been in. And it's not just intimate relationships, just
Uh-huh.
period,
Yeah.
relationship, period. It's always been about trust. So, I just, being able to breathe was just like something that was powerful as well, for me.
I think for me too. Often when I talk about my wife, it's emotional for me to talk about her, because
Well, okay, before you finish that thought, please hold on to that. I want to ask this. Why is it emotional for you to talk about your wife?
because it's like so as a guy, most guys don't like dream about as a kid being a dad, being a father. I always did. And so for me, I think I had rushed myself into so many different situations that were not designed by God for me. And it when I got with her and the alignment that happened, for me, it allowed me to experience an unconditional level of love, that I had never saw before in my life. And I haven't had great examples of what a married couple would look like by anyone in my family.
Okay.
Um, for me to have her, and to know, when I talk about she makes me a better man, I know a lot of guys kind of say that, but there's so many physically, mentally, spiritually. She has helped me grow and has been like open to deep conversations, and some of them haven't been easy. However,
Yeah.
what she's been able to help me do, it's so many things. it does bring me to tears because of my level of happiness. I couldn't imagine in my life ever her not sitting here and being with me. But it is emotional for me because I'm so grateful. I am extremely grateful to God for what He's done and giving me my queen. I pray for her. And it's funny how things were. I really feel like since we got together, we haven't been apart. I mean, we kind of have, but traveling kind of thing. Yeah. But I really feel like we haven't been apart. And so she just brings this higher level to my life as a partner.
Okay.
I mean, it is what to me I aspired as a child to have, as far as the mother of my children, my wife, my partner, my best friend. And we jokingly sometimes sit around. We're like, we really are each other's best friends. I mean, and the humor, but also the kind of mother she is. For me, I mean, she is so selfless. And sometimes I have to kind of pull her back a little bit, like, babe, you need to eat too, kind of thing. But she gives so much of herself to everybody, not just her children, but to everybody. That was another one of those attractive things for me. I saw what kind of mother she was, and I was like, that's exactly the way that I am. That's kind of the woman that I want to raise my children. And she sacrifices so much in giving of herself. To me, it is attractive, but it brings me to that level of emotion that sometimes I get choked up. In a recent work conversation, we had to kind of introduce ourselves and our families. And I saved her to the end of the conversation. But I told the story of how we met. She was we was each other's first kiss. So we talked about that. But as I talked about her, I found myself in a room full of 100 people getting emotional talking about my wife, and starting, tears are coming out now because I am extremely, extremely grateful. And, if tomorrow was my last day, I live my life, you know what I mean? Like, because I have, so that for me that's where it gets emotional.
Wow. That's very powerful, brother. And I will say this, and Grisel, I want you to chime in on this. Like, for black men, like what you're saying, talking right now, that is a hard place, I think, for us to get to. At least it was for me.
And it has to be a safe, because of the space that's provided. It really matters a lot about the space that's provided that allows that allows that black man to be comfortable enough and secure enough. Because like I just said, I had those trust things, but they're different. You have to be able to look at them from a perspective, like mine are from a different lens than his are. And we have to cater to each other in those ways, not just thinking of ourselves and what we're experiencing with those same emotions. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Griselda, you want to chime in?
I agree that for men, it's very hard for them to be vulnerable and open up in a lot of areas because of the factor of trust and feeling safe, or the perception of, if I'm vulnerable, then I'm weak. So it does have to be a scenario, and it's your own journey of growth and development also. I just listening to you talk, I can almost just visualize your journey of growth to get to where you are now. And that's very profound. My husband always say, I can't remember specifically how he quotes it, but like really basically, a real man does not really play games in relationships. He understands what his role is. He understands what he needs. He understands what he needs to provide. He understands all those things. And it's a process for them to get there, as well as a process for us becoming a wife that's a partner, a real true partner for our husbands. And that woman is going to be that husband's safe place to land. So once he sees a consistency in that, he can definitely know that I don't care at the end of the day what the world does to me outside. When I come home, she's my soft place to land. So that is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So CaMis, I want to ask you, because your husband, like, I think I need to go get me some tissue. Listen, I'm telling you, this one going viral. So, CaMis, if you could describe your marriage in 5 words, what would it be?
In 5 words.
In 5 words or less, what would it be?
What? What? 5 words. Divine.
Okay.
Intentional. Safe. That's safe.
Okay.
Always growing. Put that together. So make it one word. Hashtag. I think those are the things that kind of surround the nucleus of our marriage, that kind of hold all of the other little pieces together.
Okay.
Because it takes, as we spoke about, excuse me, the trust factor, as he was saying about being independent, and it's in our culture and in our, especially now, there is that tug of war happening because there's a shift that's going on in how things used to be and how they are now. So we can't just, as men can't just rely that a woman is going to be just because she's his woman, regardless of whatever. She's the wife, so she's just going to exist outside of herself, despite anything, and vice versa. He's not just man that's just gonna come and lay a check on the table and pay for everything and not have any say so, or what he do, or what, it's more of a partnership, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I was speaking to you about before, about coming out of that traditional way of thinking, but still having the holding on to the things. It's like they say, take the meat and throw the bones away. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we're supposed to take the wisdom from those things, but also evolve in a way that God intends us to, you know what I'm saying? Because those times were meant to be that way for a reason. They brought us to who we are now. And now it's like we have to set a different standard for our children and what's going to take them to the next level in relationships and marriage and communication and evolving our community and not just ourselves, because it's bigger than just us and our family. You know what I'm saying? It just starts with us.
Okay. And I heard you say something earlier, and you mentioned to your wife sometime, you say how selfless she is. And maybe I should ask you, CaMis, do you take time out for self? Like, is there self-care in Ennis? Does she do that? And do you make her encourage her to do that?
So she does do some self-care. I think I actually have told her maybe a couple of weeks ago, I'm extremely proud of the level of self-care that she has now started to tap in for herself.
Okay.
To me, it is the journey of healing. And I am extremely proud of her. I understand how difficult things can be based on, again, her journey. But she does do some. I do encourage more.
Okay.
Because we're honest about it. When we got together, we had kind of laid out kind of how our family was going to go. My wife was going to be working some high exec. She'd be traveling the world. I stay home, take care of the kids, and run the house. She come home. You know what I mean? That's kind of how we saw it, because I was comfortable with who I am and my role and what she needed. And I saw this potential in her, and I hear and see it all the time, how great she is. And I say that to say, because I often tell her, like, hey, honey, I think that, I always think she's the smartest person in the room. Like, my wife is pretty brilliant. And honestly, when she does things, I'm like, oh my God, you don't sit down and write this book and be the New York's bestseller, because she can articulate herself in a way that is attractive, is completely sexy. But the way that she's able to give of herself, I think sometimes she does it so much that she does forget about herself. And for me, I have to protect her. And what I've learned as a husband is that in covering her, I have to say, hey, honey, how about you go ahead and you go to bed early, honey, or I'll make dinner, or whatever, you need a massage or whatever she needs, because she'll keep going.
I need to talk to you by yourself, for real.
But she to me is an amazing example of a woman that's selfless. I mean, of course, our grandparents, that kind of thing, but for me, I get to see it in real time. Yeah. And sometimes she pushes it and she's exhausted. And she keeps pushing and I see it. And so I understand, as her husband, it's my job to cover her and say, all right, honey, all right, now that was enough. Now relax, massage, whatever you need.
That's a struggle we have, on both sides, like she had mentioned about, being vulnerable and it seeming weak. Women deal with the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Because we're so used to taking care of everything. It's like, if I don't have it all under control, then I'm, it's not about crying. We gonna cry, but it's like, if I don't have it all under control,
have time to cry.
Oh my God, I never thought about it like that.
Then that means that I'm weak. I'm not saying, because what was it told? It's like, you do this, you do that, you take care of this, you take care of that. And so coming from that, transitioning from that survival mode to the transforming of yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like these are the things that we were seeing. Like I'm telling you, it was like, you know how you know, when you come up and the lights, you be seeing lights.
Yeah.
Like, start seeing lights. That's literally how it was when we got together. It's like so many things just start going together. Like, oh, that's why this happened in my life. That's why this happened. Oh, this is how I'm supposed. So when people like the relationship I was in, and actually, it was with my son's father, and he just passed away a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But the relationship that I was in, everyone was, you know, most men would think that I would come out of that bitter. You know, like every man is this and every man is, it wasn't that, because the biggest struggle in my relationship was I knew who I was and what I deserved. And so, you know, struggling with that and being in love, you know, was a growth thing that I had to go through, you know, but when I got with him, I saw him. I saw him, you know, and it was like, after that, I didn't need any explanation. It was like that's why I say divine is a good way to describe our marriage, because it takes us to another level than what we've been taught, what we think, what we thought we knew, you know, like that type of thing.
Man, you just said something. And so, Griselda, because I know you're in the church, can you tell us the vows? It's for you, for better, for worse, for richer, or
sickness and health.
Yeah, for sickness and health. You said something, CaMis, and I want to go into that. And no, I think Ennis, you said it. You to cover your wife, to cover her, to help make sure that she takes care of herself. And I don't think couples, when you hear for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for sickness and health, we think, oh, you might be sick, you might be in a hospital with, you know, going through chemo or something like that. But we got to think outside the box, because marriage comes at you with so many different facets. And when you said that, and that's going to be one of the topics I would definitely want to discuss with other couples, like, what does that mean to you? And you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's my job as her husband to cover her. Baby, I need you to take care of yourself, not just protect you from, because I tell my wife, my job is to protect you from all harms, domestic, domestic, whatever. It doesn't matter, period. But it goes a little deeper than that. I need to make sure that you know you got your, you know, you're eating, you know, take care of yourself, because of so much that you do for our family. I need you to continue to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? That's you covering your wife. And covering doesn't necessarily mean, oh, financially or anything like that. I got you, but I got you in so many different ways than just that.
I think if I'm completely honest about this, that was something I had to learn. Like, I made mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I made mistakes along the way. And again, I told you, I dreamt of one day I would be a husband and a father, and kind of have this thing kind of ironed out in my head. One of the first things that, you know, that my wife and I kind of ironed out was, hey, honey, that's an imaginary world that you envision. And when I really accepted that really wasn't it, I had to kind of learn, like, okay, covering her, what does that mean? You know, there have been situations where, talk about being vulnerable, I left her exposed. And for me, I had to painfully learn, because I watched the damage that it did to her. And I remember watching it, and I dropped the ball on that, and I did, and I completely own it. I'm accountable for it. But I learned from my mistake, and I realized that, you know, it's not just my job to, like she said, bring home the check and put it down and pay the bills. And that's not just my job. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, are also my responsibilities, as it is for her, is for me as well. But I had to learn that thing. And to me, that was some of the bumps in the road that, for me as a husband, that I hit. But I'm happy that I was able to learn from my mistake and grow. And this continue, you mentioned growth, babe. Like, I love this journey of ours as we continue to grow. And as we get older and change and grow together along this way, for me, I'm so appreciative that I was able to learn that lesson. I wish it hadn't had to come at a cost of cause her any kind of discomfort or pain. But I'm a much better husband now, because again, it isn't just about what I can buy her. And sometimes I get hard on myself when I feel like the promise that I made her father when I asked, could I marry her, that if I'm not doing the best job that I can do, and I get hard on myself, and she sees it, and she comes to me and like, hey, time out, like, stop that, you're doing amazing, like, you know. And so she lifts me up. But again, I've had to learn, and I'm dealing with my emotions and kind of dealing with that. But I'm grateful that she, even when it was tough, stuck with me and allowed me to grow. And I can tell you now, covering her it isn't just physically or mentally, but spiritually, financially. Sometimes it's not saying anything at all. Sometimes we just sit and we can just sit here and laugh. And it could be telling jokes, whatever it is, but it's my responsibility, as is for her, to look out for me, cover me, and protect me. So when I pray for her, I pray for God's covering over her to extend past my reach, because I'm a man and I can only do so much, but God will take care of all of my family. So when it comes to my wife, she is the queen, she is my queen, and I understand my responsibility isn't just to put up the hands and throw hands, but I will if I have to. But she is what I asked for. She is what God blessed me with. She is my gift. She is my everything. So I am going to continue learning from her, with her, to continue to grow our marriage. So to me, that, and I'm accountable for it. And I don't want to keep making a mistake now, but I can't admit that I've made them. I've learned from them. And I'm just looking to continue to foster a strong union, because I realize that our children are looking right at us.
Amen to that.
They're looking right at us. And so for me, I understand that. But more importantly, for her and I want to give her the things that she wants as well.
Yeah. Listen here, I got to step it up. I got to step it up. For real. I got to step up my game. I thought I was on point. I got to step it up. Listen here, I got to step it up. If you wouldn't mind, Grisel, go ahead and chime in on some of what Ennis said. Like, oh my God, I need to step it up.
I'm trying to hold everything together in my head that they talked about. I think the key thing with this marriage that I see is the divine. A lot of times we're hard on ourselves for the things we experience in past relationships, especially women. But the way I look at this is nothing is that God does is happenstance. And even the things we get ourselves into, because most of the stuff we get in is stuff we put ourselves into. And even in those circumstances, he doesn't have to allow us to go through those things. But there's a pruning process that goes through that. So instead of saying like, oh, I made this grave mistake, I shouldn't have been with this person, I wasted my time with this person, like, what did you learn about you and relationships from that? I've had one of those experiences. What did I learn about me? And what did I learn going forward about relationships, so that you can take that and continue the growth process? And so I think that was very important that CaMis mentioned that. And like she said, she had her logic and her love, they just weren't gelling together, even though she knew. But you learned a lot about you. And like you said, you knew what you deserved from that situation. So, and that's very important going forward, because not only can you non-verbally ask for that, you can model that. I mean, you can speak for that verbally and non-verbally ask for that by being the person, because a lot of times when we don't understand, women always say, well, I want the man to do this, I want the man to do that, I want him to be this kind of way. But that kind of man also want a woman to come to the table with something too. He not trying to, pick up yesterday's trash and he giving So that woman has to do work also and prepare her heart and mind and self for that type of man, as he's preparing also for her. So I think the key to them is God, the divine inner sector of their relationship. The Bible says love covers a multitude of faults, and so it allows us to see people, as they are, our partners as they are, as well as who they can become through God and through our love that we have for them. And that makes a big difference. And like I said, it goes back to safety and trust and being that safe place for people to land, because I'm not going to show up 100 perfect every day. I'm not going to show up that way. But how you handle me on the days I don't show up perfect is going to, first of all, perfection is a myth. That's number one. But how I show up on the days that I don't feel like I'm perfect and how you handle me is very important. That sets a tone going forward. And in the relationship, there are days when, I always say, in my mind and in my experience, 50-50 is not a realistic thing in a marriage unless you splitting your bills half and half. What I mean by that is there are times in your relationship, she may need 20, she may need to take 20 and give you 80, or she may need 70 and you take 30, so that's how that goes. And you have to be flexible in that, in your love to cover those things. And that's, and I think, again, that divine connector plays a big role in that. And when you understand who you are as a person, as a man and a woman, and who you are and whose you are when it comes to God, you can, I mean, you can move a lot of things. You can, get some furniture moved out the way and some mountains moved out the way and some trees knocked down. And it's nothing that you can't do together.
Right.
I don't care what comes your way. Together, you can knock it out the park.
Yeah. You know what? I had a conversation with my wife, and I was saying that it's together. Like you said, there is nothing that we can't do. But I know what I want to say. So Ennis, and I know as a man, I felt so great about this. And you were saying how you felt so bad that you felt like you didn't have your wife covered. And I remember I called my wife one day and I was excited about something. And I was asking her something. And she was like, yeah, I want to go. She said, yeah, I want to go out. But I was completely talking about something else. But when I got off the phone with her, I thought about it. I was like, something wasn't right about that conversation. She needed a break. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't say anything. I didn't call her back. But the next day, that's exactly what we did. We went out and her spirits got lifted. To your point, like when we get that, like when you're able to recognize that, like, because of course I've dropped the ball many a times, did not recognizing that. But that moment when I recognized that and I got it, and I told her once we sat across the table for one another, I said, I heard you on the phone. You needed this. And she literally just reached across, grabbed my hands like I did. And things just, you know what I'm saying? Her whole mood changed. I felt her energy come back. So to be able to recognize that in those moments like that is great. Like to be, and with one another as well, like to be able to articulate that and perceptualize that, like, hey, I know she or he needs this, and then act on it. You know what I'm saying? That's huge. It really is. What I do want to ask you is this, because y'all mentioned some stuff and y'all know the assignment. The name of the show is It's Funny Now, Black Marriage Chronicles. So tell us about a time in your marriage where you can look back and be like, oh, it was difficult, but it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then, but it's funny now, where, and again, it doesn't have to be anything detrimental, anything like that, but a time, because it sounds like there were some moments. If you could just, enlighten us, give us a background on that.
Well, you said it was funny now?
Yeah, it's funny now. It's not funny then, but it's funny now. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I still don't find it funny.
Okay, that part. There you go. That's fine. Fill us in on that. If it still ain't funny. However, let me just say this. I don't want to, if there's something that you two are still dealing with as a couple, and if you don't want to reveal it, we ask that you don't talk about it. But if it's something that you feel comfortable with talking about, then please, by all means, share it with us. Because this is designed to help you, me, and anybody who this reaches. So yeah, just if you want to share.
For us, I think with all the situations, it was huge. And when you say like look back on it, I would look back and see how different I can look at it now. Like not funny, but how I can look at it from a different perspective, just because of how we, because we're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But for us, it was mostly like communication. It was getting together, because you have to remember, and those were the hugest obstacles. You have to remember, so people really didn't, like, they wanted us to be together. The attraction was there, because we talk about being best friends, but you gotta, want your best friend too, So they talk about, because everybody, you gotta be friends. I don't want to be with my friend. I mean, I do, but I want to, so we have to keep that attraction is there as well, which helps us as well. It helps with our communication and everything, because we can still look at each other like we 8, 9, and we know what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? So, but the biggest thing was people didn't really see us together as adults because of the different paths we were on. Okay. He was more with people that he had to tell how to be and stuff like that, and I was the same way.
But the funny part is you saw my attraction to her was I said that she was independent, because I didn't have to do what I didn't have to tell, and like I ran everything. I didn't have to do that anymore. So for me,
mine was I have dealt with a lot of insecurity. So I was used to that. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
you know how I said, like, people saying, oh, well, you might be bitter in the next relationship. It actually wasn't that. I actually kind of felt, you know, a little confident going there, like, that ain't me. I'm still ready to love this man, you know, because I know he is the man. But I took time and the things we went through for me to realize how much I did carry into this relationship, just from having an expectation that hadn't been met. So I had reconstructed my way of handling things because of certain things that weren't being met based on what I felt was secure for me, you know, and especially when you're dealing with someone that's insecure. So when we would have issues, it was more so about us learning to ride that wave together. Okay. You know, because we hadn't rode that wave together with anybody before. You know, everybody had felt we rode the wave, but it was never with anyone together where we were both giving and taking and on the same, trying to get to the same place. And we had the same understanding about who we were, what we were doing, you know, like that type of thing. Like I told Ennis when we got together, and I know there's people talking, I don't do with cheating. You cheat on me, you can say bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? And if you can hide it from me, if anybody knows me, it's not much you can have from me. It might go for a minute. I'm a Virgo. You can't have much from me. But, and that's not to say, you know, and then people say, oh, you don't know what you're going to go through until you go through it. I actually had a friend of mine who was the first lady, and they were having a discussion or whatever, and they were saying how you don't know what you're going to do until you go through something. And I understand that to a certain extent, because some things have to do with just who you are as a person. And there is nothing that can contradict that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about the situation that's happening. It's more about you. You see what I'm saying? So in certain situations, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like somebody, I don't have road rage, but if they don't cut me off, I might not say something. I'm not talking about stuff like that. But, you know, it's like when we got together, I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I've struggled. So, and I've never been that type of person. You know what I'm saying? I remember in my last relationship praying for my partner to cheat on me, because I knew that was the only way that I would be able to separate myself from the love. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's up to you. You do what you want, but it's like no negotiating. And I understand people make mistakes. That's just not, if I was you, I wouldn't want to be with me after I cheated on me. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even do that to you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let's be realistic here. You know, so it was, and you know, I know nobody wants to be cheated on. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get into anything with somebody expecting to be cheated on. You say, or think someone has an expectation that you're going to or not going to. But it was things like that were just like, different, you know, it was like different. And it was at the beginning, it was like, this is what it is, this is how we roll. And so we knew who we were individually so much that it helped us when we, you know, to go together. And like with those things, Al, to go back to your question, that's why it's like, it's not funny, because it's like that was hard for us. And most of the time it was the not knowing how to handle each other. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing how to handle each other. And it's like, we're in this place that is very covered and special and sacred. You know what I'm saying? On some real, not on what people, not that stuff they do in the church. I'm talking about not like that, but I'm saying like not that things that people just talk about and say words about, you know? So it's like we're operating in that, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that part is like, when I look back on it then, and I think of like what God was doing with it. That's how I look at it. It's not funny. It's like what God was doing with it, you know? And that kind of helps me to look at it differently than just looking at it like, oh, he messed up. You know what I'm saying? Because even when he was describing it, he like, I know, drop the ball was a good way to describe it, because you didn't mess up. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it wasn't a mess up. It was a growing pain. It was something we had to get over. And I thank God for it, you know, because it helped us to be able to navigate the big stuff, you know?
I think too, like saying that it's not funny, because it's not. It's those mistakes. It's like, I mean, you can kind of want to laugh, but at the same, I agree about saying it's not really funny. Now, I look at those opportunities for us. The communication was huge. I think everything my wife just said, like, I 100% agree with. But to me, those lessons that we learned, to me, maybe another 30, 40 years or something, we can laugh then.
Because the hardest part for me in our marriage, the hardest part in our marriage for me is learning myself, is learning more the things that I discover about myself, that my marriage allows me to see and sit in and things like that. Seeing that stuff and going through that stuff and, you know, doing that's harder than me and him. It's like, me and him, we got this, and that support, you know, helps with those individual things. It's like God put us together to call us to be able to grow individually as opposed to the other way around. You know what I'm saying? And which makes it, it just makes that nucleus grow even more and on a different level. You know what I'm saying? That's the understanding we have,
Okay. So when you were when you two were in that space, it sounds like to me, Grisel, that they're saying they're still in that, but they're, am I hearing that right? Are they still in that space?
No, I think that they just took those growing pain situations and can see now how the movement of God was preparing them for the individual growth, which provided the space for the together growth. Okay. And like anything we get into, until we, even though you were in relationships prior, you weren't in a relationship with each other. So it's kind of like before I had a child, I didn't know how to be a parent. I didn't know how to, I could see what parenting looked like, but it was not my child. So I didn't know how, I had to grow and transition to that. When I got in a relationship, I had to grow and transition to that. When you left your previous relationships and got together, there's a lot of shedding that has to go into that. Like how you communicate with this person, that's not the same person. You got to learn how to communicate with them. You got to learn how to, and I always say to women, because a lot of times women struggle with getting their partners to hear them. And I always say that you have to speak to your man in a place that he hears you in his heart. Like some men, they're not gonna gel well with you raising your voice. They're not gonna gel well with you with your hands on your hip. They're not gonna gel well with you softly speak, like you so mute, you don't really ask, so you have to learn that about each other. How do I communicate with you in a way that you hear me? And I don't mean the transference of sound, but you actually internalize in my heart to hear what I'm saying and what I need and what I'm asking for and what I can provide to you also. So I don't think they're saying that they're still in it. They're just talking about, understanding that what was happening then, God was doing something to set them up to where they are now. And that, the one thing I hear you saying about your individual growth is very, I encourage couples all the time, even though you're in a relationship, it's very important that you maintain your sense of self, not independence where you doing your thing and they doing their thing and y'all don't meet, never, but your sense of self, because we tend to lose ourselves in our roles, especially women. I'm mom, I'm wife, I'm this, I'm that. And then when you get to the bottom of the list, you at the bottom, but you don't know who that person is because all this stuff has defined you. And so it's very important that you have outside interests, you have, things you do for yourself. And I think, for men, I always also share with women, men are drawn to confidence. I don't care. You don't have to be Beyonce gorgeous and none of that. Like men are drawn to a woman who is confident and knows who she is and knows her value. And when you have that, yes, and when you can authentically show up with that, you can put a whole package together. When you can show up that way, and men they're drawn and attracted to that. So when I hear him say that, that's specifically speaking to the things that he was attracted to about her, and she understood about herself, leaving that last relationship. She did the work. So that's why, and I heard you also say about, women say, people say, don't say what you won't deal with until you're in those shoes. And I agree with that statement, but to the point where I agree with you is that sometimes when you've gone through these things, you can say, okay, at this stage of my life, no, I'm not tolerating that anymore. And that's kind of the same thing I told my husband. I was with my previous husband was a serial cheater. And I told him that, like, you can step out if you want to, but you're going to lose all of this, is what I said to him, just like that. And he said, same to you, because his wife was a cheater also. And, but we respect each other and love each other enough. So if we think of anything, we are immediately saying, well, how would this hurt him? How would this hurt her? How would this impact her? Because that's really what it's about. Like, I'm not going to I'm not going to do nothing to you that's going to hurt you, because ultimately it hurts me, and I'm not going to hurt me. So if I'm not going to hurt me, you are a part of me. I'm not going to do anything to try to hurt you either. And if people would think beyond their immediate temptations, their immediate sense of lust, their immediate sense of, those moments, those fleeting moments, if you would think beyond the fleeting moments, then you can really say, well, nope, I don't need to do that because I will hurt him, or we can't return from this. So if you think beyond that, you can get to a place where you can make a good decision based on your relationship and not try to sabotage your relationship. I don't care, temptation can come in front of any of us. I don't care how strong your relationship is, about how you navigate that temptation, how you navigate, because at the end of the day, if you cheat, it's a decision.
Exactly.
You're making a decision.
Right. You know what?
I think
I'm gonna have to have y'all back on for real. Like, we're gonna do a part 2. Y'all been so insightful.
I know we didn't even get to play any games.
I know, right? We're getting close to the end, but we're gonna try to squeeze a couple in. Okay. Fill in the blank. I irritate you most when I
who you want to go for? Wait, who you want to go for?
Both of y'all. This is for both of y'all. Go ahead.
You go first.
His face was priceless.
Put that little black book back.
My list, no. I think it's honestly is when she don't talk.
Okay.
So.
No, but the question was, I irritate you most when I. What do you do?
What do I irritate?
Oh, how you irritate her? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I do a lot of irritating things. Hey, babe, where did I start? What do I irritate you most with? I don't know. There's so many things I can pick. Like, I'm irritating on purpose to try to make you laugh, trying to be silly. That's irritating. Can you tell me? Can I have your lifeline?
No, now I want to hear from her. Please, tell me, when do your question is fill in the blank. I irritate you most when I what?
You got to do all that now.
when I leave stuff everywhere, when I'm getting ready, and I leave everywhere, that do irritate you. Don't irritate you?
No, that's my wife.
When you want me to stop talking and I keep talking, when I don't talk, when I just shut down.
Yeah, that's it.
I shut down.
Okay.
But when I have to get something out and I know the conversation should be over, but I just gotta get that last thing in.
No, that's not the number one thing is to shut down. That not talking. That drives me crazy. The picking up stuff. That's like, hey, it's my wife. I just pick it up. Because if she gonna come ask me, babe, you seen my earrings? You seen mine? Yeah, babe, it's over there. So I'm perfectly fine.
Oh wow, that's so great of you. Okay.
They're not talking.
Hello, his mother owned a janitorial service. Okay.
Okay.
The cleaning person. He used to have to iron his clothes every morning for the week and everything. That ain't what we was doing. So
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
That's not what we was doing how to drive. Okay.
Right. All right. Okay. Here's another one. What would you say is your most significant difference as individuals, and how does it help you as a couple?
I'm more outgoing. Ennis was, the funny thing is, I was at home, mama. Our party, which when our family is, we usually with each other. Before we got together, I was usually with my family. Right. But Ennis worked he works for Camel, so he was in bar. His job for years was being in bars every night. You know what I'm saying? So when he was ready to chill, when we got together, he was ready. And I had my daughter, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, I'm ready to chill. Right,
because our family turns up, baby.
Yeah, my family turns up, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's cool because my last relationship, we both was turning up, It's like, there was no balance, what I'm saying? There was no balance, it wasn't. And so for me, and then it's like, when I say turn up, I mean, for us, it's like, oh, I'm going over. That's not my lifestyle anyway. Like, like I said, if I'm somewhere, he know where I'm at. I'm over Twine House or Tequila House.
Yeah.
So so for us, it's like now he's more at the chill mode. Now I don't have to be the only person running a household. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that breakfast. So I'm a lot more sillier than I was able to be. And I'm not as serious. You know what I'm saying?
Relax.
I'm chill a little bit. And, he's able to not have to worry about everything being in place, and he can enjoy being a father and being a husband. And, so that's how it's helped us being different. Most people be like, you know, because he's, you know, that we're doing different things. That's not really what it is. It's just like our personalities and where we, and it's not even personalities, because we both, it's more like where we were in our lives. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just went together, you know?
I definitely want y'all back on. Okay. Yeah, we got to talk some more, because y'all been very, very energetic, authentic, transparent. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Okay, here's another question. What's one thing I could do to earn more of your respect? Explain.
You asking, wait.
We asking each other? Wait,
yeah, I'm asking this the question. Yeah, it would be as if I'm asking and you would be asking each other this question, but this is me asking it to both of y'all. What would you, and you know, you tell your wife, what could you do? What's the one thing you could do to earn more of your wife's respect?
Oh, okay, you're asking a question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something you could do to earn more of my what? Respect?
Respect.
What you can do to earn more, Marsha?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
To me, is to the self-care, to take better care of herself.
And what about
Not
you?
that she doesn't.
Yeah.
I want even more her to take care. I'm so comfortable with it. Like, if you need to go out and get your nails and feet and back and all that stuff, whatever you need to get done, you need to go to the library, Starbucks, and read a book. Whatever you need to do, I want you to do, because if she's not okay, I'm not okay.
That's respecting. That's what you need me to do to respect you more, because I don't listen.
no for her.
See?
For him to get
You
respect.
see where we're going?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Camise, what about you?
Not because I'm perfect.
It's not about being perfect. It's one thing I thank God that we don't have to worry about in our relationship is respect. So I'm just thinking like even like my thoughts, my things. So something that you could do to make me respect you more. Not respect, but can I just say something he can do more?
Yeah.
Do more.
Yeah. You can do what?
We need to go on more dates, Al.
Okay. That part. Okay.
He into his photography now, so he be, you know, and now I don't work from home anymore. So we used to be in the house together all the time. Like, people talk about the pandemic and stuff and getting on each other's nerves. Like, we was together, then we worked back from home together for 3 years. We was cool, we loved it. But
yeah, we
now
were
I'm
cool
out of the
also.
house.
My husband.
Yeah, so now I'm out of the house. Like, he has to be intentional.
Right. Cousin Ennis, hit me up. I think I might be able to help you in that area, brother. I think my wife agree. I do okay in that area, so we can side chat. We can side chat on that. We definitely. But I really want you guys to consider. I gotta, like I said, I'm booked up for all of April. I'm actually planning into May right now, but I want y'all to come back on. I really do.
You better be booked.
Huh? Yeah, exactly.
You better be booked.
I definitely want y'all to come back on, because I think we just really, and I hope Griselda, you can agree, we just scratched the surface with them. Like, I don't think we got into a whole lot of other stuff. And y'all shared a whole lot. I mean, you both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all shared a whole lot. And unfortunately, you know, time constraints, we wasn't able to get in it. But I'm gonna do a part 2 with y'all, because I want y'all to come back on. I really do. So I want y'all to consider. I'm gonna get through some other couples, but I really would love to have y'all back on and to get into other stuff. Y'all had a lot to share, and hopefully the information that y'all have given today reach some other people, because Ennis, you said some really powerful things. Like I said, I gotta step my game up. For real, like I need to step it up. But we have come to the end. We definitely want to again thank you for coming on and sharing your marriage with us, allowing us into that space, because I'll be honest, I know that's not easy, because I've had couples I've talked to and they was like, I don't know. I had one wife told me, we're just not in the place right now to do that. So I get it, everybody's don't feel comfortable where they are in their marriage. And I know marriages go through seasons, and that might not be their season right now to be able to do that. So I get it. I don't take offense to it, but for those of you who have come on here, and including you two, thank you. I really appreciate it, because it's not easy to be able to talk about those difficult times in your life, how you transition, how you got through them, and share that with people that you don't know. With people that you don't know. Griselda, what are your takeaways?
Well, I really enjoyed talking to you all. As you were talking, I said, these are the kind of people that I like in therapy because you don't have to pull stuff out of them. They like, they just go free and share and share. And then I just give my, it was very enjoyable to hear you two talk. I mean, I really, it's a breath of fresh air. What I really, really like, my takeaway is that people who are viewing this and sharing this will get an opportunity to see how a man can sit confidently and talk about his wife in the way that he has today, and know that it does not chip not one iota of a molecule away from who he is as a man.
Absolutely.
And that speaks volumes. And I think that's something that a lot more men need to hear and see, because it gives we have this perspective that Black men don't respect their wives. They don't do, they just don't, and the more we have these conversations with couples, and especially like today, you really did shed a light in a way that I think a lot of men need to hear and can learn from, and needs and be able to appreciate that you can be a man's man and still hold her down, and it don't take nothing away from you.
Oh my
and
God.
that's
Like, he's
important.
the most alpha man I've ever been with. People when he's the most alpha
and that's great, and I think that, I see that in Al, and my husband's the same way. Like, I don't care how many degrees I have, it don't make him feel no ways, nothing. And I appreciate, like I pray to God, I need a guy who's well balanced, and who he gonna have some problems, because we all got some issues, but he need to be well balanced. And I see that for you. You are a well balanced man with the growth process that God has, that he's still doing in you. So I take that away. And the fact that, she support you, let her be her, and she loves you wholeheartedly. And so that's my takeaway. And the other takeaway is that divine connector, which is God. I think with that foundation, you can overcome pretty much anything, because in that foundation, you're not going to do a whole lot of stuff to sabotage your relationship either.
Exactly.
So that's my takeaway. I really appreciate that.
Y'all definitely, I like I said, it's Ennis. When we talk offline and I can help you with your dating. I'm gonna pick your brain about some other stuff, because you were definitely insightful with that. For real.
And I think you're really good at that. You're really good at being intentional about the dating. I think my husband needs to talk to you too when he's coming to work out. You're real intentional about that.
Thank you. I definitely try in that area. I may drop the ball in other areas, but I definitely try in that area, because it just unifies the relationship. And then women still need to feel wanted and desired, and
100%. Yes.
So sure. But we go, because I'm having y'all back on, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. We try to keep this around an hour. But so again, thank you for allowing us into your marriage. We're gonna have because Griselda is in the church, I want to have her pray us out of this thing, and then we're gonna let everybody go their way.
Absolutely. Lord, we just thank you for this gathering today. We thank you for just hearing our hearts. We know that through this ministry, this work, we can help so many people. We thank you for the McGee's being able to be transparent, and just you allowing them to share their hearts with everyone who's going to view this, and that at the end of the day, this is for the purpose of helping people to become whole in their relationships, and we're fostering and promoting Black love, and we know that this couple definitely exudes Black love and godly love also. And I just thank you, Lord, today for this gathering and connecting us all together on today. And we ask and pray for this family in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right, cousins, family, I appreciate it. Yeah, and we definitely need to talk about the Airbnb thing we want to do to get everybody together as well. So we'll plan about that. Yeah. So I bid everybody peace, and y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Okay. Nice to meet you all. Goodbye.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank everyone for another episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. Those were the McGee's. It was an absolute pleasure talking to them. So please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for us. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. And with that, I'll leave you in peace.